Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the IABA certification webinar. Today we have Zilumkile James, who will be speaking to us about CBAP certification tips. Just to tell you a bit about Z is a business analyst consultant at DVT and has been working as a business analyst for over 8 years. She enjoys knowledge sharing and engaging in discussions relating to the evolving role of a business analyst. Her passion for the BA competency motivated her to embark on a journey to get the IABA CBAP certification. Today, she'll be sharing her journey with us and giving us some tips and lessons learned along the way. Just a few house rules before we start. During the session, you can add your questions onto the chat or on the Q&A slot. We will take all questions at the end of the presentation to allow Z to talk through her presentation. It will be about 30 to 40 minutes that she'll be presenting. And then at the end, Portia will run us through a question and answer session. But you can post them throughout the session. It's just that they'll be addressed at the end. And then if you have questions after that, you can send us an email, and then your questions will be responded to. This presentation will be uploaded on the IABA SA YouTube page. That's the link to it right there. And then to become a member of the IABA SA, you need to go to the IABA website and select the Join Us section. There's also an opportunity for you to present if you would like to. So every Thursday, tomorrow there's a session. If you go into the IBA website, you'll be able to see. Every Thursday there's a tools and techniques sessions that happens, and you are welcome if you want to share with the community at large. You can send an email and book a session, and you have the opportunity to also come and share with everyone else. And then this webinar is hosted by the Cape Town region of the IBA SA. And then if you need to contact us, that's our email address there. Thank you. I'll now hand over to Zilumkile, who will be taking us through her journey. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Nosi, for the intro. My name is Zulumkile. You can call me Z. So today, I will be taking you through the IABA certifications, focusing more on the core certifications. Because my journey was more focused on the CBAP. So I'll focus more on the core certifications, taking you through the application process, the requirements, as well as some tips on about the exam itself. Okay. So what I just mentioned now, the core certifications, the application requirements, the exam preparations, and the expectations, what to expect on the exam itself. Okay. So the IBA has 6 and specialized certifications. So the core certifications are the ones that are based more on the BA BOC, and the specialized certifications are based on other perspectives. So the core certifications comprise of the ECBA, which is the entry level certification in business analysis, the CCBA, which is the certification in capabilities in business analysis, the CBAP, which is the certification in business analysis profession, and on the specialized certification side, we have the CCA, which is focuses more on cybersecurity analysis. The AAC is the Agile Analysis Certification, and then we have the certification in business data analysis. So to continue, we will focus on the core certifications. Okay, So the very first thing that you need to understand before you embark on your certification journey is that, especially if you're focusing on the core certifications, it's that you will need to go through the BA BOK before you even make a decision on which core certification you will do. So the BA BOK has the following information or chapters, which is divided into the intro, into business analysis and key concepts. It then has knowledge areas, which are 6 knowledge areas: business analysis, planning and monitoring, elicitation and collaboration, requirements analysis, the requirements lifecycle management, strategy analysis, requirements analysis and design definition, and solution evaluation. It is very important that you understand in high level these knowledge areas before you embark on your IABA core certification journey. It also has techniques, which are about 50 techniques, and underlying competencies. Okay. We will start with the ECBA. So the ECBA is an entry-level certification which requires no work experience, but it does need you to have 21 hours of activities within the last 4 years. So what this means is that these can be classroom courses that show that you have done some kind of information, knowledge sharing, or you have acquired some kind of business analysis information. It must be in the past 4 years. So it can be a classroom courses, chapter events, like the events that we usually have on the IABA SA chapter that focus on techniques. It can be chapter study groups. So some of the chapters have study groups that focus on the different certifications. It can be conferences. It can also be self-directed learning, like reading the BA book or going through archives, the IABA archived webinars. It can also be online courses, which I will also mention some of the online courses or courses providers that you can also consider. Okay. So then, looking at the CCBA and the CBAP. So these two are very much similar. Oh, sorry about that. These two are very similar. I'm sorry. I may have load shedding. I'm not sure if you can still see me.
We can see you.
No,
Can
see?
see you, Z. Yes, we can see you.
I'm going to enhance it with the CCBA and the CBAP. So the CCBA and the CBAP, these are kind of this is the own type of certifications because they're very much similar when it comes to information or the information that you need to embark on these certifications. Okay, so the CCBA requires 3,750 hours of BA work experience in the last 7 years. So you must be working as a BA for at least 5 years for you to embark on the CCBA certification, for you to qualify to write the CCBA certification. It also requires 21 hours of professional development in the last 4 years. I'll also give more information or more explanation on what you can use for professional development hours, and it requires 2 references. Now, when you look at the CBAP or the CBAP, it requires 7,500 hours of experience in the last 10 years. This one requires that you have been working as a business analyst for at least 6 or 7 years for you to be able to embark on this journey to certification. It requires 5 hours professional development hours in the last 4 years and 2 references. So these are the 2 certifications and what the requirements are. So now I'm going to take you through the different sections, which is the experience hours, the PD hours, and the references. Okay, So hours of experience. So for you to capture your hours of experience for your application, you must have read the BA book and understand the 6 knowledge areas in high level. You have to capture these hours initiative of project. Okay. And then what I can mention or give as a tip is that for projects that are smaller initiatives like small enhancements, these ones you can group per business process, per system, or per product. So I've given an example here for BI or data related type of initiatives. So if, for instance, you've been working on reporting or reports, in your initiatives, like smaller reports, you can group that up and call it maybe your BI initiative or your data related type of initiative. If, for instance, you're looking at a specific product that you are enhancing, maybe a digital product that you are enhancing, you can group that up and call it something that will be relevant, because then, because then you will not have to, because then you will be able to cater for the different knowledge areas for in that initiative, and it'll make it neater, and it'll make it more reasonable when you are capturing your hours of experience. Okay. Then professional development. So the two certifications, the CBAP and IBA, need you to have professional development. These are called PD hours. These PD hours they need to be moderated or facilitated in a formal or similar formal type of course. It must have a measurable, it must be clear what exactly it is that you will learn, or what the outcome is of that course or professional development training. It must provide an opportunity for the student to interact with the material, meaning that you must be given an opportunity to ask questions, to interact with the material, to get response from the whomever is offering the material or the moderator. And it must provide an opportunity for practice, meaning that whatever it is that you will learn from the material, you must be given an opportunity to put that into practice. What that means is that whatever it is that you're learning, there must be either a project or an exam that comes at the end of that course for you to be able to show that whatever it is that you've learned, to show off the information that you've learned or you've gathered from the course. Okay. So PD hours, types of courses that you can use are BA training courses. An example would be the training course that is the BA business analysis diplomas and certificates that are offered by various universities and FTI. It can be a CBAP prep course, which you can find in online, as well as from various professional development providers. It also can be in forms of webinars. So you can do a collective of webinars that focus on the different tasks or knowledge areas of the BA book. The IABA has a list of endorsed education providers. So they call them EEPs. So when you are registering a course is EEP endorsed by the IABA, then your course will be automatically approved by the IABA, and you will continue with your exam application. Otherwise, if your course is not endorsed by the IABA, then it means that you will go through an extra step, which the IABA will need to verify that your course provider is in fact valid for them to continue with your application. So my advice would be you to go through the IABA EEP list and to make sure that whomever you choose, or whichever course you choose, is in fact endorsed by the IABA, just to take out that extra step. Okay, so these are examples of endorsed EEPs. that providers that you can use. FTI, I know the FTI has both the business analysis diploma and certificates, as well as the CBAP prep course. The BA doc, which is what I used, also has the BA, the CBAP prep and the CCBA prep courses. The reason why I use the BA doc is because it also has a self-paced learning course, meaning that you can do it, you can access it and do it at your own time, at your own convenience. Watermark Learning also does offer, it has a range of CBAP prep courses and prep materials as well. So when I continue, you'll see that I will mention the BA Doc and Watermark Learning quite often because I used the two providers mostly for my CBAP training. References. So for both applications, you must have two references. It must be, it can be a line manager, it can be a client, internal or external. For instance, working as a consultant, it can be a client, meaning an external client, the business in which you are assigned to, or it can be, if you are a permanent employee, it can be a client that is internal to your company. It can also be a CBAP recipient. Okay, you must have known your references in the last 4 months. You must be in contact with them in the last 4 months. It is important that these references are people that you are in communication with, and that they are aware of the fact that they will be receiving, or you'll be using them as reference. It's important that you explain to them what it is, what the CBAP journey, and what it is that you'll be doing, and what the reference is for, and make them aware of the fact that they'll be receiving an email from IABA for a reference email, of which they'll have to answer a couple of questions. They're very high-level questions about you and about your application. So it's important that you make your references very much aware of the fact that they'll be getting information from or an email, receiving a reference email from the IABA. Okay, so once you've done all this, then you are just almost ready to start with your preparations then. Once you've captured all the information, you've captured all your references, you've captured your professional development hours, your work experience per knowledge area, then you are ready to embark on your studies. Okay. So what the important thing to note is that content is not the same for the ECBA and the CBAP and the CCBA. So the ECBA exam is based on 4 knowledge areas, which are listed here, as well as the intro into business analysis and key concepts. Okay, so the knowledge areas are business analysis, planning and monitoring, elicitation and collaboration, requirements lifecycle management, requirements analysis, and design definition. So 2 knowledge areas have been removed from the ECBA exam. The CCBA and the CBAP exam do not focus much on the intro into business analysis and key concepts. They don't focus much on that. The questions will be more on the 4 knowledge areas, as well as techniques and underlying competencies. Sorry, it will be based on the 6 knowledge areas and the underlying competencies and techniques. So the knowledge areas will be BA analysis, business analysis, planning and monitoring, elicitation and collaboration, requirements lifecycle management, strategy analysis, requirements analysis and design definition, and solution evaluation. A tip from me: the first 3 knowledge areas are the easiest, and the last 3 knowledge areas are the hardest. To be quite, the reason why they removed strategy analysis and solution evaluation from the ECBA is because those 2 knowledge areas are the most difficult knowledge areas. Also important to note that they are also very much linked. There is a link between strategy analysis, requirements analysis and design definition, and solution evaluation. It is important when you are focusing on those 3 to understand what the link is between the 3 knowledge areas. Okay. Then in preparing, so when you're preparing for your exam, this is what I would recommend as as the process. The various steps that I'd recommend for preparation would be reading the BA book, doing a CBAP prep course, using study groups, as well as practice exams. So reading the BA book, it is very much important. As much as you have read it prior to your applications, it is important that you also read it when you to read it again and again. It is recommended that you read it 3 times or more. I don't know, but it is they recommend 3 times, so I'd recommend 3 times or more for reading the BA book. So when we focus on your studying, reading the BA book, it's important to focus on your knowledge areas to understand the link between the inputs, outputs, guidelines and tools, techniques, and stakeholders. Because each knowledge area has tasks, so you need to understand what the ins and outputs amongst the various tasks are. So what I did is I made a map of because some inputs from certain tasks, outputs from certain tasks are actually inputs for other tasks. So it's important to know what the link is, because in the questions you will be tested on that, whether you understand the link between the various tasks and knowledge areas. The techniques. So it's important to focus, especially for the CBAP, understand financial analysis, estimation, and calculations, because these are the questions that come up first in the actual exam. You must understand the all of the underlying competencies. When you're focusing on your techniques, make sure you understand all of it's about 50 techniques, so it's a lot. You will pick up from your simulation exam which techniques are focused on more, but it's important that you understand all of them, you read through all of them, and you have an understanding of all of the 50 techniques, the underlying competencies as well. Okay, as you can see the dragon scroll. So the BA book is the dragon scroll. And I do love Kung Fu Panda, by the way. Okay, so the prep course, your prep course must cover the whole content of the BA book, which is all the knowledge areas, the techniques, and the underlying competencies. There must be, I recommend one that has a quiz at the end of the task or the knowledge area. So when you finish a section, there must be a quiz to test you on what you learned. What I would give us a tip here and recommend is that when you're going through your prep course, please make sure that or I'd recommend that you actually read through that knowledge area or the task before you actually watch the video, or you cover that task in the course itself. That way, whatever it is that you read is still fresh, and you can actually see and make the link when you are going through the course or the actual section in the course. And then the quiz will help you make sure you understand questions in the quiz. Go back to it after you've answered your quiz. Please go back to it and make sure that you understand the answers to the questions. It must have a project to test your thorough understanding of the BA book. So at the end of it all, there must be something that you can say that you are submitting that gives a proper or thorough understanding of the whole BA book. I also recommend that it has a simulation exam at the end. That way you are able to be tested on the actual on an actual exam, an actual CBAP or CCBA exam. Obviously this is not the actual IABA exam, but it will have similar questions and pace and types of questions to the IABA exam. And I've listed some of the providers you can use for your prep course, which is I must also mention that these are not the type. This is not the same as your EEP or the course that you need. This can be a course that if you already have you've captured your EEP, sorry, your PD hours. If you've already captured your PD hours and you just need something to help you, to assist you with your studying. So this is what this course is. which is why I listed that you can get it on Udemy Plura site. The BA doc also offers one. Watermark Learning, FTI, you can use the CBAP prep course from FTI and Modern Analyst. So these are some of the providers. Udemy has some of the, because it's cheap, so it does have a couple of CBAP prep there. It's Pro and Master Shifu training. So that will be like your prep course, and Master Shifu is your moderator. And then the study group. I recommend that you join a study to ask questions or to pose questions about what you learned. So you can use social media for study group, or you can use social media, which is LinkedIn or Facebook. So there's a couple of study groups on LinkedIn and a couple of study groups on Facebook. You can just search for a CBAP study group and you'll find them on both social networks. So I used both LinkedIn and Facebook. So if you have a prep course, so some prep courses, sometimes some people they communicate and they build or they put together a study group for that specific prep course. It's also recommended by some of the moderators to put together a study group for that specific prep course. It can be a bigger group, which is what you'd find on LinkedIn, or it can be a small group, like a group of 5 people, where you are all embarking on this CBAP course. Then you can use that platform to pose questions, to answer questions, and also to test your knowledge, because some people will be posing questions about that they don't understand. Also, if there's probably a question in your quiz or your simulation exam that you did not understand, you can pose this question in the study group, and then have people assist you in answering that question if you do not understand the question, or you don't understand the answer, or if there's a section that you don't understand in the BA book. Okay, so we use the study group to discuss the BA content, to share tips, and to ask questions. So yes, that is the study group. So practice exams. Practice exams are the most important part of the CBAP journey, because this is where you test your understanding of the content, and also you get yourself up to speed, and you start practicing for taking your exam. Okay, so I've listed some of the providers, which are Watermark Learning, Adaptive US, Bridging the Gap, the BA Coach, and the BA Doc. I recommend Watermark Learning for this one. Everyone else has, like everyone that I've had chats with, recommends Watermark Learning, and I will explain why I recommend Watermark Learning when I go through the practice exam more into details in the next slide. So I do recommend Watermark Learning. If there's any other providers that you may have or that you prefer, you can use those as well. But it is very important, it's very crucial to have practice exams, or to take a practice exam before, a couple of times actually, before you go and write your IB exam. Sorry. So practice exam, this is the approach that I recommend. So I recommend this approach because this is an approach that is available in Watermark Learning, the Watermark Learning platform. So the Watermark Learning platform has 3 different types of exams. It has a warm-up exam, it has a drill exam, and it has a simulation exam. And I recommend you also take that, take those steps. You start with the warm-up exam, you move to the drill exam, and you finish with the simulation exam. Okay, the warm-up exam is a low or moderate types of questions. So these will be based on quiz types of questions, like 2-3 liners types of questions. So this is to test how much you know. So I recommend you do this maybe 2 or 3 times. To take this once, twice, or 3 times before you move on to the drill exams. The drill exams are very crucial and very important. Now, because you can write your drill exams by knowledge area. I really recommend that you select one knowledge area at a time, and you focus on that knowledge area. And I recommend that you apply the 90% rule, meaning that you don't move on to the next knowledge area unless you have passed that drill exam by 90%, meaning that you understand. So this 90% rule, please do not cram or memorize the answers. Once you feel like you've gotten to a point where you are actually cramming the answers, then it's not gonna work. So I recommend that you go through, once you've written an exam and you have answered, you go through the exam answers again, and you make sure that you understand each answer and the answer to each question, whether you got it wrong or right. When you have the answer right, please make sure that you understand it. Another reason why I recommend Watermark learning is that for every answer, they will give you a reference to the BA book. They will tell you that this answer lies in this section in the BA book, in this task, in this knowledge area. So please make sure that you understand why that answer is the correct answer, or why that answer is the incorrect answer. If you get to a point where you have memorized the questions, or you already know what the answers are to the questions, please take a break, pull back, give it a couple of days or maybe a week, and then go back to the exam. Because then if you have memorized, or you already know the questions from heart, or the answers to the questions from heart, then it means that you are not answering with your understanding, which is what will be needed on the IABA exam. There's also, when you're doing your drill exam, you'll also have an option to add techniques and underlying competencies. So this means that for that knowledge area, they will add techniques applicable and underlying competencies that are applicable for that knowledge area. So until you've reached 90%, or you've passed with 90% on all of the knowledge areas, please do not move on to the simulation exam, because things start getting hectic when you get to the simulation exam. And electricity, I do not even know what that was. Okay, moving on to the simulation exam. The simulation exam in Watermark Learning, it will consist of 120 hours. For the simulation exam, you will be timed as you will be timed on the IABA exam. So, but the nice thing about Watermark Learning is that when you need to take a break, or you need to run to the kitchen or to the loo, you can actually pause your timer and quickly do whatever it is that you need to do, and we'll give you questions that are very much similar to what you will get in the IABA exam, very similar. And I will explain the next slides what type of questions you will be expecting in the actual exam. For the simulation exam, please apply the 80 to 90 rule. But the focus should be that you at least get 80% on each of the knowledge areas. So what happens is that when you take the simulation exam, once it rates how you've done, it gives you a percentage per knowledge area. So it'll tell you how much you've gotten per knowledge area, and you need to understand that in order to pass the IABA exam itself, you need to pass each knowledge area. So if you've done bad for one knowledge area, you basically fail the entire exam. So it is important that you aim for at least 80% in each knowledge area. Okay, for the simulation exam. Once you're comfortable that you have at least 90%, you have achieved 90% for the simulation exam, I'd say 85% to 90, then it means that you're ready, hopefully ready to write your IABA exam. I'll reiterate this, please, please, please. Do not memorize the answers. Once you feel that you know the answers from heart, or you recognize them, take a break and come back when your mind is fresh, and then go through the exam again. It is important that you understand and you understand the reason behind the answers to the questions. That will mean that you understand the content of the BA book. Please do not answer from your understanding as a BA. I know we've been BAs for a while. Please answer as per the BA book. Otherwise, you will be marked incorrectly. Once you have gotten your 85 to 90%, it is important to relax, please. You have to be relaxed for you to be able to write the CBAP exam. You must remain calm and get your groove on. So the exam. So on once you've gotten your 85 to 90% pass rate on your simulation exam, you will go and you schedule your exam. The exam will be the exam that I took is on. I don't know if they still write exams on various locations, but I wrote mine strictly online. It must be in a private room because they do assess the room itself. You'll be expected to assess the room, to take your camera around the room so that they can see exactly what is in there. Please log in 30 minutes before the exam time to give yourself time to do all these assessments and also to be calm. You will have an online proctor, so someone will be asking, will be reviewing, or will be sitting watching you while you write your exam. Okay. As I mentioned, you will be expected to assess the room and to bring a form of identification, an ID, a driver's license, etc. Things that will be allowed in the exam are a whiteboard or a blank page, a pen or a whiteboard marker, and water. When I was writing my exam, I had a toque on, and the proctor said I should remove my headband. But anyway, my hair was not great then, but yeah, I wrote it anyway. So it's important that you understand that for the duration time of the exam, you do not get disturbed. You don't get disturbances. It has to be a very private room. The exam will be 3.5 hours. So please make sure that wherever it is that you are, you will not get any disturbances. The electricity is gone again. You will not get any disturbances, and the and you will need and your internet connection is solid. Please make sure that your internet connection is solid as well. The exam itself, the exam is 3.5 hours long, 3.5 hours. So in that 3.5 hours, you will be expected to answer the questions. It is 120 questions. Um, of the 120 questions, if you're writing the CBAP, the very first thing you will come across in that exam is the case studies. Now, these are the questions that are there to scare you. They can freak you out because the case studies are a page long. If you'll be using if you will be using Watermark Learning for your practice exams, you'll be very much ready for these case studies, because Watermark Learning does offer case studies types of questions when you write your simulation exam and your practice drill exams as well. So the case study is a page long. It focuses mostly on calculations, estimations, and financial analysis. You will have a calculator, which will be offered by the actual tool itself, the writing tool. For each case study, you'll be expected to write to answer 3 to 5 questions. So you'll read a case study and you'll answer probably 3 to 5 questions per case study. There'll probably be 10 case study questions or 10 case studies that you will read. So you need to be very much calm. Please, please, please do not focus very much on this. So if you see that a question that you whatever it is the question that you are supposed to answer, if you find it difficult, please select an answer. Whatever answer is, just guess an answer and move on. Because what happens is that they put these questions up front so that maybe they make it so to confuse us or to scare us so that you don't write the rest of the exam. But they put these questions up front, and they can be really confusing, and they can scare a person. I was scared a bit. But it is important to mind your time, because the time will continue. It's not going to wait for you. You can't pause it. So you'll need to mind the time that you spend each question. it is important to also answer every question that you will come across, even if it's just a guess. There is no negative marking. So even if it's just a guess, it's better to, there will be a chance that you get the answer right or wrong, but it's better to guess than to not answer at all. So the case study questions come up front. They're very scary. Please remain calm. If you actually read it and you understand it, you will be fine. Please remain calm. And then they have scenario-based types of questions. So scenario questions are like, a scenario will be half a page, and then they'll ask you a question on that. So that will also require that you read and understand what it is that it is that the scenario is about. Okay, this will be about half a page, and you'll be expected to answer the question. And then the quiz type of questions, which are 2-3 liners types of questions, those they have right at the end when you are so exhausted and you've gone through so much and you feel like crying, and you're starting to doubt yourself, and then they give you quiz questions. It's important that you get to those quiz questions, because those quiz questions are easier than the case studies and the scenarios. So it is important in your time that please make time and make sure that you get to those quiz questions. So what happens to most people is that the most common mistake that people make is that they focus, or they spend more time on the case study questions, and then by the time they get to the quiz questions, they've run out of time, and then but because of that, then they end up failing the exam. Please make sure that you leave enough time for your quiz questions, because your quiz questions are easier to answer. This you can score more marks there. And again, to reiterate, you will be marked. When you're marked, you'll be marked on the spot. When you're done writing the exam, you'll be your exam will be assessed automatically, and you'll be told right then on the spot whether you've passed or failed. It's also a very scary part, that one. So it's important that you make sure that you understand each knowledge area, all of the knowledge areas. Um, when you're going through your simulation exams, please get at least a 90% in each knowledge area. I can tell you now that the last 3 knowledge areas that I mentioned are the most difficult, which is requirement analysis and design definition, strategy analysis, and solution evaluation. Those are the 3 most difficult knowledge areas, and because they are interlinked. So there'll be questions that will test you on those. Please understand them. Yes, the exam will be marked, and you will have to pass each knowledge area. And if you pass all of the knowledge areas, then you will get your pass, and you will pass your exam. And then this is the quote that I thought of: everything has to be about Kung Fu Panda. Anything is possible when you have inner peace. Inner peace. Inner peace of what? Right. Okay, so I've also provided links to some of the course providers that you can use. Also, my name is Lumkile, also Z. You can catch me on LinkedIn if you have any further questions other than the ones that I'm about to answer right now. Yeah, so that is me. I'm going to hand over to Portia, who's going to assist me with questions that you have.
Sure.
Portia.
Wow, what a jam-packed session. Thanks, Z. I've certainly also learned a lot. Okay, let me shoot straight to our questions. I'll start first on our Q&A section. We've got a question from Mickey. It says, I'm interested in a study group. Anyone interested?
Anyone interested?
I think maybe they can just respond to on the Q&A. And then the next question, or maybe just drop a note on the chat so that Mickey can know if you guys are keen, right? The second question is from Mohammed. It says, would you recommend taking the exam online or going to the test center?
I've never done test center. I would really recommend online. I wrote my exam because you can take it at any time of the day. I started my exam at 3 a.m. in the morning that was the most quiet time with less disturbances from the house. So it is also nice because you can also check your load shedding so that you don't have load shedding issues like what just happened to me. So you can also check your load shedding, and it's important to make sure that wherever it is that you'll be writing, it is a private. So I've never done a location exam. I've only done an online exam, and I would actually recommend it.
Okay, cool. And then the third question is from Cindy. It says, how many times can you sit the exam?
So you write the exam once, and then you either pass or fail. If you fail, the IABA will offer you a re-exam. So you can register for a re-examination, and you will be given a year to register for to write your re-examination. If that answers your question, do they have any follow-up questions from that? From Cindy, is there any follow-up question?
Okay, just hold on. I'll just try and reach Cindy.
Okay.
Cindy, you can go ahead. You're unmuted.
Okay.
Okay. I think let's
Cindy.
swiftly move on. Cindy, you can drop a on a chat note if you've got a follow-up question. And then on our chat, it's a lot of compliments here.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Okay, then there's another question which I think it also worth us just answering. It says, does that mean you can skip a question and then go back to it later when you touched around just guessing other than leaving question unanswered?
Yes, you can skip, and also another thing you can do, you can actually mark a question. You can, if you've answered a question and you do not trust your answer, you can mark it and then go back to the question that you've marked. So yes, you can skip.
Okay, cool. The next question is from Lisa. It says, once done with studying and all prep, how long does it take to get an exam date? Is it advisable to book before you start study prep and drill exam, or after?
I'd recommend you do it after. You can literally, because you can get an exam date, which is about 3 days or 4 days from now. So I'd recommend that you do your prep exams and you are comfortable with your drill and your simulation exams, and then you book your IABA exam.
Okay. And then another one from Lee. It says, with the drill exam, do they provide the correct answers and provide a type of understanding related to why it is the correct answer?
Yes. So yes, they provide you with the correct answer. So if you're using Watermark Learning, you can actually it shows you why each of the wrong answers are why each of the incorrect answers are incorrect, and why that correct answer is correct. It also gives you a reference to the BA book where the answer is. So it will tell you in which knowledge area, in which task, and you can actually go there and check the answer.
That's awesome. Okay, and then another question from Prince. It says, how strict is IABA on which certification to start on? Would it be advisable to start on ECBAP, on ECBA rather?
So they're not strict. You must just make sure that you have you have all of the what it is that they recommend. So you have the years of experience, you have the PD hours. So you don't have to start with the ECBA. I didn't do the ECBA. I did straight to the CBAP exam. So you don't have to start with a lesser exam, which is great actually.
Okay, cool. Then let's see if we have some more. Another one from Richard. It says, should references and hours be captured before signing up for CBAP?
So by signing up, I'm assuming you mean signing up for the exam, is in scheduling the exam. So yes, so before you are able, because all these steps, before you are able to schedule an exam, you will be expected to capture the hours. So you will not be allowed to schedule an exam until you have captured all of the requirements for the exam. So you will be expected to capture your references, you'll be expected to capture your PD hours and your work experience before they allow you to schedule an exam.
Okay, cool. I think I've tried to search for Richard. Not sure if he's still online because I just wanted him to confirm, but I can't find his name now.
Okay. Is there
Okay,
another
and
question?
then from Inga basically says, please share the names of Facebook and LinkedIn study groups,
Okay.
if there are any.
So on Facebook, because I used the BA doc content, Michael White has a Facebook study group where some participants can actually go there and post questions and ask the questions. He sometimes shares content and he sometimes shares questions, Q&A, where you can actually go there on Facebook in that page and answer some of the questions. I will also share the the LinkedIn the LinkedIn study groups as well with a larger team.
Okay, cool. The next question is from Sebastian. It says, which mapping tool were you using during your preparation?
Mapping. So when I was mapping my inputs outputs, I used Visio. So basically, it was just a way for me to map my inputs and outputs and my guidelines and tools in a way that I'll be able to see what the link is between the various knowledge areas and the tasks. So I just went on Visio and I just did my connections there. You can use anything basically that you find easy. You can even do it on a whiteboard or on a large piece of paper, I guess.
I'm thinking Eris can also work for those who has Eris.
Yes,
Yeah.
Eris as well for the ones that who use Eris.
Okay, cool. And then another question is from Lisa. It says, is there a recommended time frame of preparation from studying the BABOK until you write the exam?
It depends on how many hours a day you spend on the content or on studying, how many hours a day you will have. I spent about a year in preparation, which included reading the BA book, sorry, and also going through the prep courses and the simulation exam. It took just over a year for me to finish that. It's important to take your time to assess yourself how long you'll take. So do not pressurize. And also, it's a very common theme in the study groups that some people put pressure on themselves and they put timelines, and then they pressurize themselves in writing the exam, and then they fail the exam. I spoke to a lady that failed the exam 3 times, and she was frustrated because then she's failed this exam 3 times, and she keeps putting pressure on herself. It's important you take your time, you are comfortable, make sure that you take your however long that it takes for you. Do not set timelines for yourself, even though you set them, but do not put pressure on yourself with those timelines. So it's important to take your time until you find yourself comfortable enough to write the exam.
Okay. Cool. Now I've got quite a lengthy question. It's from Anonymous. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to. Yeah, it says Anonymous attendee. So let's give it a bash. He says, I don't know if it's a he or she, apologies. I did CBAP preparation with FTI. What's the next process to do?
Okay.
Do I study and apply for exam? Do you want to just answer that maybe, because there's quite
Okay,
there's quite a bit to go. Yeah.
Okay. So the first question is, so you did your CBAP preparation, what is next to do? So if you've already captured your PD hours on the IABA website, and you've also captured your experience and your references, for that, if you've already done that, then you can start doing your practice exams. That is also continuous studying. You're doing your practice exams. If you feel like you need to go back to the BA book, you can go back to the BA book and study. It's important that you are comfortable with the content, besides the CBAP prep exam. Sorry, the CBAP prep preparation course. So the next question says, I'm going to read it out myself, Posh, if you don't mind.
Okay, no
Do I
problem.
study and apply for the exam? So yes, please do study and apply for. So rather study first and make sure that you are comfortable in your studies before you schedule the exam. So you can start applying for the exam, meaning capturing your references, capturing your professional development, and capturing your work experience. You can start with that so long. And then once you're done with that, you can continue studying. And then once you're comfortable with studying, you can schedule your exam and write your exam. Okay, I once heard you need to be approved first before you write the exam. Is that so? So because you did your FTI, you used FTI. FTI is also one of the recommended or the endorsed educational providers by the IABA. So your course will be automatically inserted into your profile. You will not need to reassess or to approve to assess your provider, which is FTI, but you will need to capture your references. Your references will be contacted with an email, and they need to provide feedback for that. So there is not that much time that you will need to wait for that. Whilst that is happening anyway, you can continue with your studies, with your simulation exams, or reading your BA book. Please explain the full process for me. And if you don't mind, can you also please have your details to get in touch? Okay, my name is Zilumkile James. Z. I'm Zilumkile James. Please contact me on LinkedIn. Zilumkile. I'm pretty sure I'm the only Zilumkile there. I hope I am. But my name is Zilumkile. Please contact me on LinkedIn. Otherwise, I will Portia maybe share my email address on the comments, so that people can email me, so that anonymous can email me and let me know what further questions that they may have. Okay.
Sure. And then we've got the last one there. It says, does it help doing the ECBA before doing the CBAP?
It doesn't matter. If you do have all the requirements for writing your CBAP, then go straight and write your CBAP. If you do have, it'll just take you longer to study, and the exam itself is a bit more intense. So otherwise, it does not matter whether you've done your ECBA first before you do your CBAP, because I did not do the ECBA first.
Cool. And I think that's about all the questions that came through. And then it brings us to the end. And thanks, Nosi has already shared your email address, and I'll hand back to Nosi. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Portia. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Z. There's just one last question before you leave. Someone just typed a question now. How long
Okay.
does a certificate last? A year or 2 years?
It lasts 3 years, 3 to 4 years. I'll have to go in and recheck, but it lasts 3 to 4 years.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. Thank you, Z, for a great session. I would just like to ask Edward, our president, to say a few words in closing.
Thank you, Nosi. Thank you, Z. Yeah, this has been quite an informative session, and I'm excited to see that there's been so many attendees, because what it says to me is, as the practitioners, we are serious about our profession. We take it serious. We want to improve ourselves. And one way in which you can do this is through a certification. So I encourage all of you guys to definitely make the time if you can. Yes, it's obviously a lot of work that needs to be put in as we saw through this presentation, but it's worth it at the end of the day. You know, everything that's worth doing comes at a price. You have to be able to, you have to be willing to sacrifice, but it's for the betterment of yourself as an individual. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Eddie.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
All right. Thanks,
Thanks.
everyone. Bye.
Goodbye.